Hey guys, it's Kaylor. Welcome to the YouTube channel. Today is day 46 of the Daily UI. Today I'm going to be designing this one live with you guys, kind of a tutorial type video, showing you guys my creative process and how I would go about doing this. Today's task is to create an invoice, so we're going to be laying out several different screens to kind of represent a storyboard so that I can later animate this in After Effects. And I'll show you that animation at the end of the video. So we're going to be designing about 3 screens, probably a little bit more, just to get a little bit more detailed in the storyboard. But I'm going to first start off by wireframing the main 3, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so for the first screen, I'm just going to name it Home. And this is going to be our screen when we load up the application. The next screen is going to be our invoice screen, so I'm going to call that Invoice. And then the last screen is going to be a payment screen, so if we make the payment. And I'm also going to go through and add wire to each one of these because these are going to be our wireframes. So just dash wire. So we're going to start wireframing the home page up here. And what I like to do is when I wireframe, I like to use basic shapes, so no text or anything, and I like to use gray colors. So I have 3 gray colors here, a dark and 2 lighter shades that I'm going to be creating all these elements with. And what I do for text is I create a rectangle like this, and I apply a border radius of like 1,000, so when we scale it, it stays rounded on the sides nicely. And I'm just going to change this to a lighter color like this, and let's make it a little thinner. And then I'm just going to put it right here. So we're going to have some kind of text up here, and I want to symbolize that, so that's how I do it. And then for icons, I can do like little squares. You guys get the idea, just something to get the overall structure of the app laid out. And so I don't want this centered. I'll probably have it over here a little bit. And so right there, I don't have to do any design work, just some basic shapes, and I already made a decision off of that. So that's why this is extremely useful. We'll probably have about 4 invoices here in our kind of inbox area. So I'll just drag out 4 of these, and I'm going to change these to the lighter color. And now on each one of these, we'll probably have some kind of icon or logo for the company that it's from, and that way we know we're making the proper payment. So I'll just symbolize that with a circle, and then I'll just grab our text here, bring it to the front, and change it to the darker gray. And then I'm going to duplicate it and make it a little bit thinner, and that's going to be our tagline. Let's drag that into. And put some spacing, and then I'm going to center that up. And then we might have some text over there, so let's scale this in a little bit, and we'll just symbolize that with these 2 rectangles like so. And so that's kind of what our box is going to look like, and if I want to see that further, I can just copy and drag it down to each one of these. And there we go. So that's the real rough cut wireframe for the home page. When we select one of these invoices, I want this invoice section to kind of overlay on top of this. So we're going to hide like the status bar and all this other navigation, and it's going to be like on top of everything. So we're going to have some of this stuff over here, but we won't have everything. So we're going to have a back icon instead of this would be our menu icon. And I'm also going to have this section here full screen and laid out slightly different. I'm going to grab this rectangle just to use it. And I'm going to scale it down and then match it to the sides of my artboard. And so this is going to be where our total amount of payment is going to be. So I'm going to grab some text, and I'm just going to place that down here. And then we might have the total written beside it. So I'll make that just a little bit smaller. It doesn't need to be as important as the overall number of the payment. And so we have that text down there. So up top, we're going to have some similar information to what we have over here about the company and the invoice itself. And then we'll probably do some kind of list over here, detailed information about the payment. So I'm going to copy this over to this artboard. And I'm going to delete this box because we're going to have this screen a nice white, very clean style. And we're not going to need this. So we're going to have this information, which is the company that we worked for, what we did for them, and their company icon. Then down below that, let's just go ahead and create a line, and this will be our separator, and I'm going to make that our lighter gray color. And below that, we're going to start each of our payment breakdowns. So I'm just going to grab this text and position that to the side of that icon there, and then we'll have another breaker. So this is going to say what we did, and it's going to give a little description, and then over here on the side we're going to have how much this is worth. And I'm just going to duplicate this a few times. And there we go. That's our invoice. So now what I want to do is I want to do something cool with how we pay for this. Instead of just having a normal button that you click to pay, I kind of want to swipe to pay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this circle. I'm going to change it to this darker color that I have here. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. And let's position it about there. And I'm going to grab a rectangle, and I'm going to create it the same height as the circle and just go over. I'm going to make it the same color and then group it together. And then I'm going to place an icon on that, and this is going to be like a credit card icon. So what we're going to do is when we're ready to pay, we're just going to swipe this over and it's going to say payment completed. Since we use this app a lot, we're probably going to have all of our credit card information already stored in it, so that swipe will be a very nice way to pay. So this last screen is the payment screen, and it's going to be very different from the rest. It's going to be probably a blue color. This color right here I believe is what it's going to be, but for now I'll just leave it as a gray. I'll pretend like I don't know that I'm going to use that color, and I'm just going to create a circle, and we're going to have some kind of circular check mark icon, and let's make this the light gray. And then below that, we're just going to have some text. And there we go. There's our payment page wireframe done. Pretty simple. So moving on to our mockups now, I'm just going to copy these wireframes over. I'm going to change the names on them to mock instead of wire. And I'm going to have a poll real quickly on the screen. I want you guys to vote and let me know if you like this style of wireframing with these basic shapes. So I did still do a little sketching on paper, but it's not as much, and it's more digital, and I kind of like it this way, and I think it's actually quicker. So let me know your thoughts on using these shapes to wireframe and if you like it. So we're going to need a few things from the different UI kits. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Apple iOS, and I'm going to grab the white status bar since we're going to be using some color. We may not be able to see it very clearly for now, but it's okay. I'm going to change that to white. I'm going to go into the Google Material next, and we're going to grab several things. First, I'm going to grab the dark theme template, and I'm going to paste that just somewhere in here. And then I'm going to go and grab a hold of this arrow icon they have. Copy that, and then paste that in there. Okay, and I think that's all we need. So I'm going to ungroup everything from this so we can grab this rectangle and just drag it out. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete everything up there, and so we're left with this. So for some reason there's two rectangles in this kit. I'm not really sure why. I'm going to copy that, select my artboard, and paste it. Then I'm going to just grab this rectangle and drag it over so that it matches each of our edges. Next, I'm going to grab all three of these things, and I'm going to send them to the back. For now, I'm going to copy this arrow and paste it over here to the invoice, and I'm going to change it to a darker color so we know it's there, so we just have it for later on. So now I'm going to go ahead and delete all of those mock-up elements, and so we have something like this. Let's see what the spacing is on this. 16. Let's bump that up to 20. And then on this, I'm going to go ahead and delete that and add my own text. So we're going to have invoices written here in all caps. And I'm going to use Roboto as my font. And let's change this to white. So I'm going to drag that over till it touches and add some spacing. Next, let's change this black to one of our gray colors. And there we go. For these, I'm just going to delete all three of those. And let's just delete everything inside of this. I'm going to leave this and change it to, let's go with 60. And on this, I'm going to bump this to 92 and center those up. And then let's add some spacing off the side there, around 20. And then on this, I'm going to go down 20, and then on the sides we're going to add 10 spacing. I'm holding Alt to apply that to both sides, and we have something like that. So our icon will go there later on. Actually, let's bump that over. It's not enough. Or that's actually too much spacing. Looks good. So for our text here, this is size 20. I'm just going to copy this, change it to our gray, and this is going to be, let's just say Google. And let's change that to 16 size font. Below it, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go down to 12. And on the opacity, let's drop this down somewhere to like 60. And I'm going to position that touching the bottom there and just center that up. And I'll just put some tag line text here. So we have that. Next, over here on the side, we're going to have the invoice number and the date. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to align those to the right, and I'm also going to change the alignment on the text to the right as well and add some spacing on the side. For our number, we'll just do a hashtag and some random number like 100234. Then down here, we'll have the date. This is the date that we received the invoice. 3/22/2017 will work fine. And on this one, I'm going to bump down the opacity down to 40. So it's not so clear. And so we have that. And that gives us a nice little detail on our invoice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this and copy it. And let's apply 10 spacing to match the sides to each one of these, so that we have 4. And there we go. So that's going to be our mock-up. Let's add a little bit of shadow, and then we'll call this a done mock-up. So I'm going to apply a drop shadow to this, remove the Y value to 0, and let's change this to 10 so it's not so dark. Also, let's add some border radius to this. Let's try 3. See how that looks. Looks okay. So I know I'm going to want this background back here to be gray, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to gray. And then let's grab all these and just change them to white. So that's looking pretty good. Our shadow looks nice. So I'm going to call that our done mock-up for our homepage. Onto our invoice overlay now. So I'm going to delete all of this up here, just like we did before. And I'm going to drag this down here at the bottom for now. And let's copy this and paste it in and send it to the back. And I'm going to select my arrow icon, change it to white, and then I'm going to position it aligned with our 3-line icon and then delete it. So this is going to be our invoice number. So I think we did 100,234. And I'm going to delete the status bar since this is overlaying the screen. And I'm going to grab both of these. I'm just going to center them up and then go 20 down from the top. And I'm going to delete this rectangle as well. So we already have these lines down here from before. So we're going to be using those. So I'm going to grab this one and drag it up and just go 20 down from the bottom of that. So we're just keeping it nice and even. And that's going to be our little navigation bar up there. I'm going to delete this content and just go over here and grab these 3. I'm going to position those 20 down from that line, and then from the side a little bit more in than 20. Let's go 30, just so it looks a little nicer. And we're going to match that spacing all the way down through here on this side, and then on this side we're going to keep our 20 spacing. So let's put this back into position. I'm going to center that up with that line. Let's see how big this is. 76. Let's go a little bit larger to 80. And then I'm also going to do the same thing with our rectangle. Just drag that down there. And let's go over with it just a little bit more so we can see more of the rectangle around there. So down from this text, I'm just going to delete everything. And I'm going to copy this text. And I'm going to copy this line. And then go down 20. Same thing with the text, down 20. And let's position that to the left, matching our icon. We should have 30 spacing. If you hold Alt, you can see that. And we're just going to grab these 3 things and just do this a few times. So I'm going to hold Alt and go down 20. You can also use the repeat grid. I find that the repeat grid sometimes can be more of a struggle than just doing it from scratch. So I'm just going to do it from scratch. If you guys want, use a repeat grid. And so we have those 3 list items there. And I'm going to copy the Google, change the positioning on the text to align right. And let's just group these together so I can center that up. And on the side, do our 20 spacing. And this is going to be how much this particular item costs. So let's do $600. And I'm just going to copy that a few times, grouping all of these together. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can align this centered with that group. So we have this centered in between both of these lines. Down here at the bottom, I already have this little gray bar, and this is for our total. And I'm going to copy this text and place it there, and then I'm going to grab my tagline and I'm just going to put in total, and I'm going to put that total probably 30 or 40 from this, just so if it's a pretty large number we can still see that. Let's go 40 over. Let's go ahead and finish off our last mock-up, our payment page. Let's delete this and get this out of the way. We no longer need that. So for this, we're going to have an icon, and then we're just going to say payment completed. So I'm going to grab this text, align the position to center, and let's go down about 10. Whoops. And then just say payment completed. Just like that. And that will do. So now we have all of our mock-ups now completed, and we are ready to finish our design. Alright, so let's finish up this design now. So I went ahead and added 2 icons in here. One is the credit card icon. Also, I added a check icon for the payment completed. And by the way, all these icons are from material.io. Even these arrows and menus can be downloaded there as well. So just go to materials.io and click icons. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and select all my artboards and copy them one more time. And let's position them about the same. There we go. And just change the names on these. I'll just put design. So here's the easy part. Once we have our solid mock-up, all we have to do is change the colors. I also added in all of our text to make it make a little bit more sense and look like a functioning app. So the first thing I'm going to do is select the top navigation bar here. And let's change that to a dark colored blue. And then I'm going to grab all of these numbers and I'm going to change them to a lighter blue so they stand out a little bit more than this blue here. And then we're going to work on importing all of our icons now. So for this one, I'm just going to change this to a green color. And I'm going to take my text tool, put in a letter, change it to white. And then let's bump it up to 20. I'm going to center that, and then I'm going to center it up into the circle. For those people who don't have profile pictures, that'll work nicely. I'm also going to do this for an A for our app plus that we worked for. Center that one up, and then let's change this one to a nice pinkish red color. There we go. Now for Google, I'm going to change each of these circles to a light gray, and I'm going to import their logo into my document. And then I'm going to center that up and just copy the Google logo and center it up one more time. And there we go. We have a finished home design. Very quick and simple. That's the power of creating a full mock-up. So now let's do our invoice page. For the invoice page, it's going to be pretty simple. All we're going to do is change the colors around. And that's why I really like doing the full mock-ups before I actually design. It works very well, and it's a good way to design without color. That way your design works with can work with any color scheme basically, and it's not only working with one color scheme. So that's a nice way to do things, and that's why I prefer to make my mock-ups so detailed. And let's change that to the dark blue, I think. And for the text, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the numbers over there. Just to highlight them, we're going to go with the lighter blue. And then down here at the bottom, let's just change this to the lighter gray. And there we go. Lastly, let's just create the payment screen, and all we have to do for that is change 2 colors. I'm going to change this to the solid blue, and then this goes to the white. Whoops, I missed this color right here. Change that to blue. There we go. So that's going to do it for today's design, guys. I hope you enjoyed this daily UI invoice creation process. Went through the wireframe, the mock-up, and the overall finished design with you guys. A lot of people have been requesting that I slow down some of my videos, so I thought today would be a good day to do it. And here's the final product of what the concept looks like animated. I did this in After Effects and probably took me about an hour and a half total to get everything completely the way I wanted it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like, and as always, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. On the left is my previous video, just in case you missed it. On the right is YouTube's recommendation just for you, and the top center icon is my channel icon. Click that to subscribe for more content just like this. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.